What's going on, you bunch of heretics? Grab your paint pots, grab your recalf, and let's get some paint on that ever-growing pile of potential. It's here, Heretics is my therapy, slap chop tutorials, and we are continuing with our faction focus, Kroot. This is part 3, and we are working on our shapers, specifically the Kroot Flesh Shaper. That's the guy wielding the great big axe and the knife. So yes, as always, everything you need will be in the description below. So yes, as always, let's get to it. Right then guys, here we have our Kroot Flesh Shaper. As you can see, I've done a base coat of Abbadon Black, and then all I've done is, as we've done with our previous models, is just added that layer of rhinox hide to give it a little bit of context and texture. So what we're going to do is, as always, we're going to go with our four tier slap chop basing with our Mechanicus Standard Grey, Administratum Grey, Ultime Grey, and of course white scar. I've got my dry brushes, I've got my, as always, my Army Painter medium, and then of course two small dry brushes from Games Workshop, and of course a larger brush. This is for between each dry brushing. We're going to just quickly give the model a quick wipe over, just to get off the sort of dust particles that the dry brush gives off. Okay, so without further ado, let's get to it. As always guys, first things first of all, Mechanicus Standard Grey. Quick shake off, prep our brush nice and soft, and again placing it on the brush, grabbing our kitchen roll or our our pad that you've got, whatever you want to use. I'm just going to use this, okay? And as always, we're just going to apply small circles all over the entirety of the model. Initial Mechanicus Standard Grey applied, and you should just be able to see a little bit of that rhinox hide through the bottom. All I'm doing is just taking a large dry brush, and I'm just getting off some of those dust particles that are in there, just to keep it clean, ready for the next dry brush. Next dry brush in, we're going to get our Administratum Grey, and exactly the same again. All we're doing is just applying that Administratum dry brush all over the models, underneath, all above, small circles, just like we did with the Mechanicus Standard Grey. Okay, so all over the model, small circles, getting it everywhere. Made a couple of layers just to build up, just to get it nice and bright. Okay, in these smaller areas, feel free to use your smaller dry brush to get in some of those areas. You will need it for this one, just to kind of make it a bit better. Okay, Administratum Grey applied. As you can see, we're just building up that picture now. And again, get our nice big brush, take off any of the excess, just so it smooths it all out before we paint anything on it. It's really, really important just to get this brush over the model between each dry brush. Okay. Right, next up we're going to switch over to our smaller brush properly this time, and we're going to apply our Ultime Grey. Remember, we're not going in the shadows, so we're not going up the model. We're just going to go down the model, small circles still, small circles, but we're not going to be going under it all. Okay, just small circles, just around the model, just like we had before. Really where all the light's going to catch. Okay, and again, you might want to do a couple of layers of this, depending on how bright you want to go. But we want this nice and bright. Okay, nice and bright. And as before, we're just taking our big brush. Yeah, so you can just see it all builds up. So this just really helps break it up. Yeah. There we go. Done. Right, next up, our final bit, we're going to take our white scar, and that's where we're going to do our final dry brush on the model. Okay. Now again, really, really important that we make sure that for this, again, we are just getting all the highlights of where the light would be. So we're literally, again, small circles, but just over the tops. Okay, so where the light would shine. Okay, no need to start going underneath, just literally going where the light would shine. Okay, that's all you need to do. So again, keep it under a good light, and all we're going to do is small circles just all around all the areas where the light would go. Okay, and as you can see, it will become really quite bright, and you should still be able to see those little hints of brown. Okay, and again, with that final dry brush applied, once again, we're just going to take off all that excess dry brushing, the dust that will have been made. You'll see it when you're dry brushing. You know, you'll see it when you're dry brushing, it will just come off nicely. But this big brush just gets it all off the bottom. Okay. Now, moving on, I'm going to do something a little bit controversial here. Oh yeah, you better believe it, guys. I'm going off-piste, big time. Oh, jeepers, that was close. It's going to wake everybody up. Right, we're just a little bit off-piste here. I'm actually going to apply my Aggwelin Earth on now. I say that because the feet won't be affected all that much. But what it allowed me to do is I can get a lot of the stuff on whilst I'm just basing this model. Base this model, then I can get the rest of my stuff on. So as before, we're literally just areas that you want a bit thicker, just apply it. It's quite a lot, easy enough area to navigate around. So yeah, we're going to put this on first, okay? Right, there's our base applied, and now we're going to start getting to work. Remember guys, we're always working in that light to dark when we do contrast painting. So we're going to start off with good old-fashioned skeleton horde. Unlike usually with the ones we've done before, we apply a full base coat to it. We're not going to. Today we're going to do a little bit different. We're just going to apply it to the areas that we want doing it, which is going to be this part of his cloak here and the top of his mask. And then we're probably going to apply it to the full area of the face, just where the beak is. We will apply it there. Alright, so as always, getting it on our palette, and we're going to want our Larmian medium as well. Not a lot, just a slight drop in there, nothing too crazy. And all I'm doing is I'm just applying a few layers just into the cloak. You're going to want a good few layers of this just to build it up. Alright, just on this bottom part here. And then we're going to do it on his mask. Again, hasn't got to be too neat. It's a rather light colour. And then we'll just go over to his beak as well. Okay, easy as that. Again, this is going to be a good few layers building up on this. I'd probably say two or three layers just on the mask, and in this cloak area here. Don't forget the bones on here. We might even come back and do that as a Xandri dust option, to be honest with you, just in case this isn't dark enough. But again, just getting that in there. Leave us no side bits. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. What we like to see. Like I say, just building it up in here, and then on the mask. Alright? So like I say, what we're doing here, we're just kind of building up those areas that we're going to develop on anyway. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm not going to go with the box art. I'm going to get some Blood Angels Red. Blood Angels Red, mix with my Lamia medium, and his kind of like jacket, if you will. I quite like the idea of him because he's a flesh. Flesh, he's got a bit more of a cooler, bit more of a like the Kinbad, Firestalkers with their cloaks. I'm going to give him a bit more of a red jacket, waistcoat type thing, a bit more of a butcheresque. And again, it just breaks up the colours a little bit, makes it something a little bit different, makes him my own. Yeah, same again in here. I'm going to get all this in red, but don't worry, we will make this darker. But again, a bit of a 50-50 mix of Lamia medium and Blood Angels Red. And then we'll be using Flesh Terrors Red and some other colours as we go on. Okay, but yes, nice and easy, nice and light, using your small brush, just going over these areas like so. Okay, with that applied, there is a bit of red there. We're now going to apply a bit on the skin. There's not much of it, so we're going to get some Mantis Warriors Green. No need to Lamia medium this up. This is a very light colour. So again, it's knees. You'll see that there. You've got knees. This is going to be a bit more of a dark. We're going to glaze over with a dark Angels Green, but we're just getting the basic stuff on first. You know, if you can get in between the legs, and the gaps there, inside, his arms, his shoulders there, his arms, and then obviously his other arm, and then of course his bottom part of his beak, inside his eyebrows. Okay, and then obviously the neckline as well. Okay. Okay, we've got the bits of the skin in, and now basically everything else. So the leg works, the pads, the casings, and all this here. We're going to use good old Gore Grunter fur, nice and lightly applied as always, with our Lamia medium like everything else. So yeah, over his pads, over all of his packs and stuff like that. And then yeah, and then we can start to add a bit of texture and a little bit of depth with the darker colours into it. Okay, so just nice and light, nothing wild as always, into the model, into the areas that we want to make him look pretty cool. Alright, so yeah, into the elbow pads, into the casing, this little head thing. We'll do the flesh separately because I'm going to use different colours. His little meat stick, his little snack. Alright, so yeah, like I say, all over the model, or all over the areas we've just discussed. A couple of layers, not too many, inside there, and then we'll start looking at using these colours over areas we've painted. Alright. Rightio, so as you can see, we have got a lot of the main colours on. So what I'm going to do for the areas I've done with the skeleton horde, I'm just going to get my pre-mix that I've already made with my Gore Grunter fur, and I'm just going to add a little bit of Lamia medium in there. And all I'm going to do is just start to just almost like a bit of a glaze over it, just in some of the cracks, in some of the shadows, just to give it a little bit of depth. Okay, same again in the mask. Just going to zip over it in all the cracks. I'm going to leave the beak because that's where the beak will get a lot of its, the beak, in fact I do a little bit of the beak actually, that's where we're going to concentrate a lot of our Zandri dust when it comes to it, okay? So again, we're just getting amongst the crevices, okay, and we're just adding a slight tint over it, so when we get that Zandri dust over, it will just make it look weathered and worn. And don't worry, we will Cygor Brown just in there as well. Alright, there you go. Next up, we're going to apply our Flesh Tearers Red. So it's a darker look, and all again, same again, nice mix up. Okay, really thin it down. And all we're going to do is just very simply just apply it all over the areas of red. Okay, all over those areas of red, just to give it a bit more of a deeper look to it. Okay. Okay. Right. So for the skin areas, we're going to get our Dark Angel's green, and we're just going to apply it into the top palette, and again a little bit of Lamy and medium in there, and again all we're going to do, just in those recesses, just a bit of a glaze over the top, allow the contrast paint to sit where it would just naturally sit, and you'll just see it just take shape, allowing the previous green to come through in its own right. Okay, nice and light, again all around the jawline of this guy, in the eye crest, because it is green. Okay, try and get that distinction. Hopefully you can see that alright. Okay. Oh, same again there. In the neck, same again. Okay, and of course, if you see any bits where it's pulling, just brush it off with your finger. And then again on the arms, easy, and then all around the hands. Right. With that applied, it's time to get our liquid talent out, our Agrex Earthshade. As you can see, our base has dried, so just a generous helping of the Agrex Earthshade along the bottom. Again, if it gets under the feet, so what? It's a bit of dirt, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? These guys operate out in the desert, and we can always use stuff to kind of cover that up with scenery. Well, I'll tell you what, I like how this guy is turning out. I'm looking forward to a bit of the old dry brushing that's going to come up soon. Oh yeah, very much so. Right, next up, so this is where we're going to use our Gore Grunter fur to apply into certain areas. Okay, it's a classic one. You know I like Gore Grunter fur. I'm talking rubbish, I'm on about the Cygor Brown. Remember, this is a very, very, very dark colour. So the first place we're going to place it on, into our mix with our Blood Angels Red. To that Blood Angels Red and that Flesh Tearers Red mix that we had earlier, you're going to pop a little bit into that, okay? And it gives us like rose, like red wine almost look. And all we're going to do, we're just going to literally place it over that. So all over that red, like a glaze, we're just going to pop it all over, and all that's going to do is it's just going to give it a bit more of a red wine, deeper look to it. Okay, it's no longer bright anymore. It's darkened, it's worn. It's more appropriate to this Flesh Shaper. Okay. Next up, we're going to take our Cygor Brown again, and we're just going to pop it back into our Gore Grunter fur mix. Okay, back up here, and again, all we're doing, nice and light, we're just going to work it into those darker areas like a glaze. Same again, nice and loose. Just throw it over the model, over the brown areas. Okay. And again, if there's areas that you want to make it darker, you can do, but for the time being, this just wants to be super light over his leg work. Nothing crazy. Okay. We're just in the leg work, just darkening out that leather over his legs and his pads over his arms. And then also, like I said before, again, this is a really dark colour. Okay, so we've got to be really careful with it. And then again, over his mask, just a real easy wash over his mask, over his death mask and beak. You know, just that's it there, just to create a little bit of shadow and wear over that. Alright, but again, back into here, create no shadows, just make it that little bit darker. Yeah, happy with that. And then we can just apply it in some of the sort of like grooves in his backpack. It's just a bit in between, like the string into the weapon system. Get a little bit underneath. Just break it a little bit, and then this little weird head thing, whatever that is, on the bottom. Okay. Easy as that. We're going to get his hair done, so we need our Blood Angels Red again. Blood Angels Red in our little mix over here, with of course our lime medium, and the hair, like I say, well, nothing loose, just the tips and about midway down. Okay, just the edges and midway down. All right. Again, lime and medium, 50-50 of Blood Angels Red, and we're just getting his long, very long quill-like hair. Again, just down to about midway, because we're going to mix it in with our shyish purple, as per the rest of our Kroot Hunting Pack. Grab our good friend shyish purple, and we're going to, as always, yeah, you know the routine, guys, pop it on. But before we do that, we are just going to, the tongue on here, you'll just see that we're going to get his, it's that little blue tongue in there. Num 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 num. We're going to make his little tongue purple. Yeah, little purple tongue. Easy as. Cool. Right, now that we've done that, we just go pretty much down to the base and then midway up, wherever you want to go really with that. But I do like the blend of the purple, the red and the black all kind of together. I think it works really well. I think it works nicely. Gives like a bit of a, almost like a bit of a tomahawk feel, I think. That's just what they kind of are, really, aren't they? Like an Apache tribe. Is that right? An Apache tribe? I think maybe that's what it is. Hopefully that's taken in the right taste. But very nice. So there you go, adding in that purple all the way down to the base, like I say, and then we'll get the Black Templar on now. And next up, one of our favourites, the old Black Templar. Yeah, same again. To be honest with you, we could, because it's quite easy enough, it's all quite watered down anyway, you could probably just go straight from the pot, in all fairness. Just make our way up, I see, in the base. Let it create those little pockets there. Beautiful. Yeah. Nice. Nice. And there we are. I think it's time for our time for the good stuff, the old dry brush. Right, before we hit the dry brush, what we are going to do is we're going to get our Thondia dust, and we're just going to create the little bits of bone effect. So we are very quickly just on the beak. We're just going to very much just add a little bit more beak. So just cautiously, nothing wild. Just adding a bit of a pre-highlight into there. Okay. We're then going to get these bones here, and same again. We're just going to pre-bone them. Pre-paint the bone. Okay. Again, nothing too wild. Just a little bit on there, and then again a little bit of bone that's on the joint of meat. His little snack. That'll come more apparent in a bit anyway. Okay, so there we go. Like I say, we will paint the flesh bit in a little bit. Once we've done this dry brush, we'll then start doing the little bits and pieces there. And then what you're going to do, the mix is already pre-made here. We're just going to get this Thondia Brown Gorgon to Fur mix, and we're just going to just pop it a little bit just back into that area. Same again there, just this little mix here, just like so, a little bit of depth. There should still be enough in there to just to make something work quite nicely, to sit in the shadows, because we're about to do a nice little dry brush over. Okay, so there we have it, guys. That's kind of where we're at this current point in time. Now it's done. Now it's time for the dry brush. All right. Okay then, guys, and it's the Heretics My Therapy secret sauce, the Thondia dust. The Thondia dust dry brush over the top. Yeah, as always, guys. We get our dry brush. We put it on. You know the routine. Take it all off. We dry brush the base first of all, almost like a bit of a texture palette. A little bit on our hands, and then we just start to, like I say, very delicately. Remember, feathered touch, except for the areas that you want to make a bit lighter. Should you want to, like those bones, the beak. Okay, the mask. Yeah. Remember, guys, this is a complete feathered touch. Okay. Feathered touch. So we're just very, very lightly dry brushing over the entire model. Small strokes, up and down. Nice and easy. This, you should not be pressing hard at any point on this. Okay. The only points you want to press hard a bit more on is around the feet to create a bit more of a dust effect. At the bases of any sort of like the cloth, again for the dust and the dragging of the dust. Okay, but outside that, it is a feathered touch, troops. Okay, it is an absolute feathered touch. Okay, all go. Cool. Right, there he is, all dry brushed up. I'd say what that has made a great deal of difference, hasn't it? Yeah, I reckon so. So all we're going to do now, very, very quickly, we are going to, I'm just going to add a little bit of the old red that we had just into little bit here, just to break that up a bit. So we're now going to apply the metal, and we're going to do this skin, and yes, we just need to add also a shaped bone just into the desert part of the floor. Okay, very simple, very quick and easy. Apologies there guys, as always. Yeah, just a little bit into our desert. Okay, and also just a little bit onto the bottoms of that there, bones, maybe even some of the quills. Done. Too easy. Okay, first things first, we're going to do the sort of meat stick Abbadon flesh tone just into the area. Okay, and all we're going to do is just a couple of thin coats, as always, 2 thin coats on this. Okay, that's all we're going to do there, 2 thin coats on here. We're also going to do it into the actual meat area as well, and that will become more apparent in a moment. Okay, so into the little meat area itself, so 2 thin coats of that. Whilst you're waiting for that to dry, you can then start to work on the metallic areas, so getting your iron warriors and then just doing all of the metallic areas just while that's drying. Okay, so all of the metallic areas, this will include the sort of cartridge casings on here, all of the metal work in all of the blades, all of the metal work in the hooks. Obviously there's great big knife, his great big axe. How could I even miss that? I do not even know. Yep, so his great big axe. And then what you can do is we'll just do all of these like stitches, if you will. So all of these stitches will all need to be done as well. Okay, and then when that's dried, we'll go back to this. Right, so I've done all of my silver areas that I wanted, including in the, oh, whoa, hello there. Missed out a little bit in there. A couple of little bits in here. Apologies for that. Right, so what we're going to do now as well, while we're here, we're just going to grab our, Blood Angels Red. And all we're simply going to do is round the eyes. We are just going to paint that. Hopefully you can see that right, sorry. Take off the tops. We're just going to paint all around the eyes red. Like I've got myself a bit of a war paint around the eyes. Alright, so just round the eyes. That is what we're going to do. Okay, just like the rest of them. If it's a bit heavy, we just take it off a little bit there. Okay, so it's got a little bit like a red eye war paint type thing. If you want to, you know, you can dot the eyes and go over it again. But for this, we're just going to keep them as he is. Keep them looking a bit mysterious. For the metal work, all I'm going to use is Agrax Earthshade, a little bit of non-oil, or even Black Templar, just in the weaponry. And for my flesh, all we're going to do here, we're going to get our Dark Oath Flesh texture palette, and all we're going to go do is just a couple of layers into that flesh. Okay, a couple of layers into the meaty parts, and then again we're just nice and easy with that. Okay, so again, this can be dark, it can be a bit gritty, it really does need to be neat because it's going to be unclean. Okay, from there we're going to go back to our Blood Angels Red, and we're just going to stick a little bit inside the little meaty parts, just around the tops. Okay, in the scarring, around the tops. Sorry guys. With then, and it's quite dark in that area. Again, in this little meaty bit, we're going to grab Agrax Earthshade, and again, just an ever so slightly bit, we're just going to pop some Agrax Earthshade just inside there, and again, plenty of it in here. Okay, very meaty looking stuff. Alright, while we've got our Agrax Earthshade, we're just going to go around all of these little, all of this here, all around the stitching, if you can call it that. I'm just going to go over all the stitching with our liquid talent, because liquid talent, you know what I mean? A little bit in the bones, but the key is it's just between the string of the bones, okay, so inside. All right, and again, just in here, we can go over a little bit of this, of the hooks, or with the Agrax Earthshade, depending on what you want and what you want to achieve, depending on the kind of effect that you want to create. Yeah, into the hook, a bit there, a bit on here, a bit in there, and then we're just going to go over the rest of it with the null oil. Alright, so again, just wherever you want to put your Agrax Earthshade, into like the sort of like the rivets, into the rivets, easy as that. You know, back round here, create a slight rust effect if you want to, like over the arm bit, the arm ring, you know, and then, you know, if you want to get inside some of these little areas in here, inside the cracks. Again, you can just really have a little bit of fun with it. Okay, it's completely up to you. Alright, with that all done, we've got all the bits of null oil in there. As you can see, it's all kind of darkened up and such as the like. So now we are just going to go back to our Abbadon Flesh Tone. Back in, yeah, back in with our Abbadon Flesh Tone. And all we're going to do, just very, very gently, just over the model, we're just going to almost patch over this a little bit on the top. Again, this does not want to be neat, just a little bit bumpy over, like so. Okay, once we've done that, I'm quite content with that. Once we've done that, we're going to grab our Kislev flesh into a little mix there. Nothing again, just over the top of the Abbadon Flesh Tone, a little bit off the paint there, and all we're doing, we're just picking out the real kind of highlights around the edge. You're just dabbing it around. Easy as that. Okay. Hopefully you can see that okay. But again, it's nothing neat, we just got a bit of flesh there. Alright, once you've done that, just to kind of really taper it in, we're going to get our flesh tearers red. And all we're going to do is just nice and light. Because don't worry, we're going to get our technical in a minute. And we're just going to stick that just inside there. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, really giving it that. And again, it hasn't got to be neat. You've got to think what this is. It's a pound of flesh. Pound of flesh, pound of meat, pound of flesh. Easy as that. Alright, cool. Now that that's done, I suppose the final little bit for us really, before we do some proper blood stuff, we're just going to get our Stormhost Silver, and we're just going to just very quickly highlight, edge highlight the areas that we have been painting silver. So just little dots if you want to, in here. Again, just the tops of the hooks, just to give it a bit of shine. Just a little bit of shine there. And again, tops of the blades. And just run in here, like so. And across the axe, we're just coming along, like so. Again, it's not neat by any stretch, but all we're doing, we're just a little edge on the edges, just breaking up a little bit, so we've got a little something. Alright, there you go, nice little edge highlights. Or if you want to dry brush over it, you know, you can do. But again, it will come more apparent in a second while we're not being too neat, because we're going to cover these in a lot of blood. Alright. And then finally, all we're going to do is we're just going to get our blood for the blood god. Okay, so first of all, put the blood for the blood god just in our palette, and all we're going to do, first things first, is we're just going to pop it all in our meaty area that we've got in here, in the fleshy bits. And again, there's no worries if it gets on the blades, that's what we're aiming for it to do, and it gets in some of the surrounding area, even on some of the leg. Alright, so again, you can afford to be a bit messy with this. Okay, get it wherever you want it. Okay, it's quite thick stuff. It does come out like blood looking. Again, if you just stick it in there, it will look rather nice. So on the blades, all we're going to do, we're just going to get it on the tips of our dry brush, and again, take it off. Okay, and all we're going to do is we're going to just go from the tip back. Okay, like so. Okay, if you put this on too much, you'll notice it. Okay, you will notice it. So again, just take it off, like so. Just very simply, just start working it onto the weapon, and you can slowly build it up bit by bit. Alright, don't do this too quickly. Again, take it off, and then say all you're doing is from the edge, working it back from the edge, and just working it back. Okay, then if you want to, take a very old brush, something like this, and all you're going to do is kind of stipple it on. Okay, so where you've got your edges, you're then just going to stipple it into where you want it to go. Okay, and again, you're just away from the blade, and you just slowly build that up. Okay, right, I suppose I better skip to the part now where all my basing's done with my army painter basing kit, and you just do it however you want to do it. Right then guys, there he is, all done. Our, there we are, probably a bit better to see, our Flesh Shaper, all done and finished, ready for the tabletop. Yeah, loving how this guy's come out, definitely fits the part. Yeah, what do you think? Has this tutorial helped you out? If it has, please give it a thumbs up in the description below, and obviously leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't. As always, hope you're enjoying these Slapchop tutorials, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers guys, thanks for watching, bye bye.